Hi guys, Justin here again from Rated Tipsters with another short walkthrough video of a service I've just reviewed called Hedger Pro, run by Ryan Phillips and Nigel Dove. It's a horse racing service with a few different sort of form metrics and filters that you can use to analyze a horse race, as well as I mentioned in the review. I talk a lot about the research tool, which is sort of the cornerstone of what the service offers. So I'm going to talk you through a bit about the service today. It's a bit of a There's a bit more to it than with some other services, and it can be a bit more sort of complex to get your head around in some aspects. So I think a video walkthrough will be hopefully very useful for people who have read the review and are interested in the service. So we're going to start with the race cards. Again, you can sort of look at any race you want. Just list all the races in an order. I've gone to here, race 5 at Bath. So the first thing you'll notice is that the stats shown are color coded, which is very useful for people who are sort of more visually inclined to sort of analyze a race that way. You'll see I've filtered or sorted the columns by the horse number, so it's in descending order, and the filters that I've got set up on this race card is the runner information and all of the different horse stats and also the current Betfair odds. So you can customize the race cards however you want. Um, Again, I've got some basic runner information. You can get a lot more: course, distance, winner, country, gender, Betfair forecast price, weight, um, current age, all of that. Then you've got all these horse stats, some in-running information, jockey stats, which are 3 months, and trainer stats, which are 1 month, as the horses is a full year. And you've also got some different information on how the horses traded um, in the lead up to today's race at whatever time you're looking at it. So some volume, weighted average price, a price chart for today's race, which is also quite interesting. So if I've set it up just to look at the horse stats for this race. Two sort of metrics that I tend to look at are the actual versus expected, which is essentially looking at whether the horse overperforms or underperforms based on market expectation historically over 12 months, and also the 12-month percentage rivals beaten statistics. I find these two to be very useful in trying to predict the outcome of today's race. So if we were looking at those two statistics, obviously looking for things that are green, we can see that Jack's Edge performs very well in each of them. He has the highest AE score and the highest, second highest percentage rivals beaten score, at odds of 6.8. If we're going to look at the favourite in the race, he has got the highest percentage of rivals beaten, but he is ranked fifth, fourth in the AE stat. So just basically looking at that information, I'd be interested in backing Jack's Edge. What you can do is, let's say we only want to look at those two, AE and percentage rivals beaten, but we also want to look at it for the jockey and the trainer. We can just click these. And now our race cards are showing the horse stats, jockey stats, and trainer stats. So I think that's very useful once you've sort of found a bet that you like, to be able to compare the jockey and the trainer form as well. Line it up. You can look at it any way you want. There's lots of different ways to set the race cards. But once I've settled on these, having a bet on Jack's Edge, you can see we've got this B showing here. So this means I've already placed a back bet on this horse, because you can directly link your Hedger Pro account with Betfair. So that obviously allows you to see the prices, but it also allows you to bet directly through the Hedger Pro app itself. So I'll show you how I've done that. So I've just pressed on the current odds, and it takes you to this screen. So we've got backing or laying, so we'll set that to back. We don't want to set it to hedge, so we've got it on single. And exchange or BSP is just saying whether you're taking it in the live market or to BSP. So we want to take it in the live market, and we'll bet to fixed liability because we're backing. You can schedule the order if you want. X minutes to post, minimum odds, maximum odds, and you can set it to qualify for any of your systems if you want. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put it into the live Betfair market now. One thing you'll notice is that the current odds are 6.8, and for some reason, I don't know why, the system always sort of auto-fills odds a few ticks lower than what's currently available. So just make sure you put in the current odds so that there's no chance you're taking worse than what is currently available. And yeah, once you've filled all that in, you can order the back bet, and that might have frozen. We'll try it again. No, that's completely frozen. Okay, let's try it with, maybe it's because I've already bet on it. Let's try it with this horse at 6.6. Yeah, I think it's not letting me bet on this horse twice. Okay, so apparently you can only bet on the horse once. I can probably lay it though, because I've backed it. Will it let me lay it? No. Okay, that's good to know. So once you can see, once you've put the orders in, and the bet's been placed on your actual Betfair account, it'll show in the race cards with this B icon. And I've also laid this horse, but it will not let me lay it again for some reason. Okay. But again, that's just another way of visually showing any of the filters you think are relevant, and also the actual live bets that you've got on the market. So now we'll move over to the research tool, which is where I spent a lot of time in the review. So I've made this test sort of system based off of these A, E, and PRB stats. That's the other thing I was going to show you as well. You can, because some of these are confusing, you can hover over the title of it, and it'll explain it, which is useful for the acronyms because of, you know, how many sort of, I'm still getting used to what all of these things mean in some ways. Just hovering over it helps when you're just having a quick glance at the race. Anyway, so back to the research tool. I've got this system based around the AE and PRB stats for the horse over the last 12 months, and also the AE stats for the trainer in the past 4 weeks. So essentially looking to back horses that are performing above average in both of these figures. We're betting to BSP. Betfair commission set at 2%, and you can see the results. The results in the corner here. We've had 2,913 bets for a yield or ROI of 8.5% and a points profit of 247, as well as the commission paid, which is sort of useful to know. So you'll also notice as well, we've got this 6 months results column. So that's what they call the anti-backfit feature, which is essentially trying to show you, okay, if you'd started betting this system 6 months ago, how would you have performed? So you can sort of get a feel for the recent performance of a system and not just the overall. You can set that to any number of months you like, and update the system. So that's it's useful to know how it would have performed if you'd started 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. So how we've gotten all this set up. Once you've created a new system, just click this edit button up the top here, and that brings up all the different things you can filter by. And you just click on them to make them green, like I've done with the horse stats, the trainer stat there, and the last time out position, and also the BSP price. Once you've done that, click research, and it'll bring everything up. It'll just be zeroed, and then you can fill it in yourself and research as you go to update the results. So what we see with this system, the first thing I noticed was, so you've got these tables, these graphs, charts to show you the performance of each of the different statistics you've chosen. So looking at BSP and our horse stats here, trainer stats, and also the results for the last time out finishing position, which I've not said anything for that yet. So the first thing I noticed was most of the profit from this system is coming up to odds of sort of 14, 15, and then it has a massive sort of nosedive, and then obviously a bit of success at some of these longer odds. But so I've set this odds range of between 2 and 15. I mean, you can make the case that it seems to be treading water up until there. So you could even bring it, to 3.5, 3.65, something like that. But I don't mind having just a bit of a higher sample size by including some of these lower odds selections to sort of smooth out the variance a little bit. So we've set that odds range at 2 to 15. And what we noticed with the percentage of rivals beaten statistics was I'd initially set it at, I think it was either 70 or 80 to 100. So it was just covering sort of this range here, and I'd missed out on all of this profit. So the graph was able to very clearly show me that I should include this range as well, because that's been profitable. So I adjusted it to 50 to 100. And similarly, we could see with the AE stats, there was a bit of a tail off after about 500. So I've capped the range here from 200 to 500. The trainer stats, I didn't really get much. That doesn't show you a hell of a lot, probably, to be honest. There's a massive downturn there, and it sort of picks up and treads water a little bit. Yeah, so we essentially, it's a lot of trial and error, trying to build a system based on things that seem logical, not trying to just cherry pick random sort of stats and ranges that have produced a historical profit, but stick with a system which seems well thought and logical. So I wonder if, yeah, if we take a look at this last time out finishing position, it seems if the horse is finished first or second, it's performing really well. So, and then it sort of levels out after that. So what I'll do is we'll see the change that makes. We've currently got an 8.5% yield with 247 points profit. Yeah, so that's increased the yield from 8.5 to 13, and also added an extra 15 points profit. So I mean that shows that these graphs are sort of very useful in giving you the information for where any sort of any metric is performing well or performing poorly at, and then it's up to you to decide whether that's just a chance or. But to me, it makes sense that we're targeting horses with strong form stats in these two areas. They're reasonably at the front of the market based on our odds. So it makes sense that if they've finished first or second in their last start, that they were going to perform better in today's start as well. So I think that's something that's logical. If we want to take a look at some other things, let's have a look at country. So do that, click research, and it'll show you the performance breakdown from UK versus Ireland. So this figure in brackets here is a percentage. So 69% of the profit has come in Great Britain and 31% has come in Ireland. So then currently that's set to ignore. You can then filter only by the Great Britain horse races. Um, Even though that's where most of our profit has come from, it does reduce the total points profit because obviously Ireland has still been profitable. So for that one, I think it makes sense to ignore it. We'll take a look at a few others. Let's go to you can filter by handicap. Again, currently set to ignore. So non-handicaps account for 11% of the profit, and handicaps account for 89%. So again, we're at 13.3% yield. Does that improve it? No. No, even though it accounts for most of the profit, that's just because most of the races are handicaps. So we're going to ignore that one as well. Um, what else could be interesting? Class. I wonder if maybe that could show us something. Yeah, so that we can see that races in class 5 is the only one that's produced a loss, whereas 2, 3, 4, and also a little bit of 6 have produced a lot of the profit. I mean, the bulk of the profit has come in class 3 and 4. So what we could do is we could say include classes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Research that again from a 13% yield becomes 22.6, but we've cut down a lot of races from what we initially started with. We've now only just got over 1,000 races and 1,055 bets, but we've got a 22% yield. So I guess at some point when you're creating any sort of a system, the question always does become: are you overfitting it? Are you over complicating what was just a basic idea to begin with? Another way of doing this would be you could potentially exclude class 5, and that'll show something very similar. Again, includes a bit more races because we'll have had bets from class 6 as well. Yeah, so to me, does it make sense that we've got this most of our profit from class 3 and 4, but class 5 is producing a loss? I don't think that really makes any sense because class 6 is also profitable. So I think most likely it's just an anomaly from a smaller sample size of bets that class 5 has produced a loss so far. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna cancel that class. I'm gonna get rid of that because I don't think there's any logical reason um, why class 5 was performing poorly. So I'll get rid of that and update the system again back to our 13.3% yield. So you can see, let's just add a few more. We can go surface, we'll add distance, runners. We'll go with that. It's also good that it loads so quickly. Some system builders can take a lot longer to load, but and it's useful to have this in sort of graph form to see. You can see most of the profit coming on turf, but I suspect that's just because the majority of the races are on turf. If the system was producing a loss at the all weather, that would probably be something to look at. But I think based on that, we'd be happy to just keep both turf and all weather. Again, so you can spend a lot of time going through the graphical sort of information, making tweaks and adjustments to the system. You can also, I wonder if we include course, see what that'll look like. With this system, we don't have 2,000 bets, so there's not enough information to actually rule in or out any specific courses. But this sort of shows you that's not actually that easy to read in bar form, so we'll change it to table. yeah, we can go through and look at the profit at each course. So we could sort of take the approach of let's only look at courses um, that have produced at least 10 points profit. So if we went and click to, you can see that adds them here. So again, just very quick to do, very easy. That 1.9, not 19, 11. So this is obviously going to make like the system's going to look like the best system you've ever seen now. Um, that's where's that? That's Sandown. Obviously, Sandown. They've had 23 races, 24 bets, and 34 points profits. There's been a long odds winner there. All right, we'll do a couple more. So we've included all these good performing courses, researched the system again, and now suddenly we have 314 points profit at a 54% ROI from 580 bets, which is outstanding. But obviously, we can tell that that's just cherry picking good courses that have performed well over a small sample size. I mean, 19 bets, 21 bets, 10 bets, 32, 38, 35, 11. So there's no reason for those courses to have performed as well as they have. You'd want to see, I mean, look at Dundalk, maybe Dundalk, there's something there, 78 bets. Ideally, you'd want to see a few hundred bets, at least 100 before you're sort of ruling in or out any courses based on the profitability to date. So again, that's if you've got a system that's maybe got 10,000 bets and you're dealing with a much smaller 1, 2, 3% yield, that's probably a very useful thing to look at because you'll have several hundred bets for a course. So I like the way all this information is presented. It's quick to update. So we're going to get rid of the course information because we don't want that. Yeah, so we've got this system backing to a fixed liability. You can lay fixed profit. You can also bet at minutes to post. So I'll quickly show you. Instead of going off the BSP price, you can go off the minutes to post price, which is actually quite interesting as well. This is something not most services don't do. So already we've improved our performance to 333 points at a 17% yield by betting 240 minutes from the jump, and you can do that all the way down to 1 minute. Let's see what that does. Yeah, 12. So we had 13.3% at BSP, 12% at 1 minute to start time. Let's look at half an hour. That's probably 14, 15%, 16. And then back again to 240 minutes has given us a 17% ROI. So I mean that makes logical sense that um, closer to the start of the race, the more efficient the market is, and the smaller, perhaps the smaller the edge. I suspect if you were looking at something with a longer odds range, betting to BSP would perhaps be a more profitable angle because generally speaking, the prices at BS on the longer odds horses are higher at BSP than in the live market. But because we're betting, at the front end of the market, I think that does make sense, and that's probably something you'd see across lots of different system ideas that the further out you are from the start of the race, backing, the higher the yield will be, but also you've got the problem of being able to get much of a stake on not much liquidity in the markets 4 hours from the jump. Yeah, I hope that's been useful to sort of visually look at what the service is doing, how you can use it. Lots of different ideas. I mean, you can see how many change the Betfair commission too. You can see how many different things you can do. All this runner information, horse trainer, jockey, and some of the price data from today's race as well. So um, yeah, I hope this has been useful. Do check out my review if you haven't already, and I'll have a lot more reviews coming in the near future of different services, both looking at Betfair um, and also bookmakers, trying to find an edge at both. So thank you. We'll chat next time.